Hey there, y'all. I'm Juliette Miranda of the Unwritable Rant podcast, and I'd love for you to join me today in tasting Booker's 30th anniversary bourbon. So Booker's bourbon is from the Jim Beam family, and this particular release celebrates the legacy of master distiller Booker No. It is a blended bourbon of 9 and 16 years specially selected bourbons, and it's a pretty big deal because it's a very limited release. It retails for about $200, and aftermarket, people are paying up to like $1,400 for this stuff, which seems a little crazy to me. Now, before we taste this bourbon, I wanted to go through a couple of things because that price tag is pretty hefty, and I know it can be really daunting to go to the liquor store and see just rows and rows of whiskey and see them priced from $20 to $2,000 and not knowing what's good or if it's worth the value. So let's discuss just a couple of little things that can contribute to that price tag on your whiskey bottle. For starters, it comes down to distillery. It takes a lot of work to make whiskey and bourbon, particularly if you're a craft distillery. Now, if you look at some bigger place, like say Maker's Mark, they've got the facilities to make a whole lot of bourbon in a whole lot of bulk. So they're going to be able to price down. But if you've got a craft distillery, well, it's a lot of hands-on work. Age is also a factor when it comes to price tag because, especially with bourbon, it takes at least 2 years to make it. I mean, just think about that. Let's say you set out to make a batch of chili. You've got the ingredients, you throw them in the pot, you get it cooking, but you can't share it with anybody for 2 years. That's a long time to wait for a payoff. So of course, when you've got these higher priced bourbons, the 9, the 10, the 15 years, well, that comes with a price tag. Exclusivity can also make a difference in that price tag. And by that, I mean a couple of different things. For starters, it's the size of the batch. So if you've got a smaller run of bourbon, they're going to price it up to recoup the expense. Exclusivity can also mean the rarity of the bourbon, how it's aged, how it's distilled, who made it. Packaging too is a big factor, and I know that sounds silly, but I can explain. Now this Booker's 30th anniversary release has a little bit of all of that playing into the price tag. As I said, it's a blend of 9 and 16-year aged bourbons. It's a very, very small release, and it's a very coveted release. But beyond that, it's got super cool packaging, which may sound a little ridiculous, but if you're a bourbon collector, this is kind of a big deal because the box is made out of slats of the legendary Jim Beam Warehouse E. Every box is different. They all look super cool, and I'm really excited about mine because my guy at Binny's let me pick my box. He only had 2, and this one was hands down my favorite. So here's what I love about this box. You lift it up, and there's your bourbon. Wah. But really, it's just kind of cool to be holding a piece of history in your hands. And I know I'm going to hang on to this, and I don't know if we'll keep it in the bar or maybe display it somewhere, but it's just cool, and it kind of smells good too. But really, y'all, let's see how this stuff tastes. Now, my guy is going to be a little super mad at me because I've kind of already cracked into this just once because I was so excited to taste it. So there's a little bit gone, but let's pour some more and have a taste. Oh, y'all, this smells so good. It smells amazing. Y'all, this is a beautiful color, and it really has great legs. It leaves these lovely oil trails on the side of the glass, which is what you get from an older, more aged bourbon. Oh, and that smell, it smells sweet and honey-like. And one thing that Booker No was noted for was making a classic bourbon, something that was just full of vanilla and just smooth, easy flavor. So let's see if this holds up. All right, I'm sorry, I'm giggling, y'all, because, oh, it's so good. It's so warm, and it has that vanilla flavor that he's noted for, but it's also fruity. It's got a little bit of apple to it, I think, and a little bit of cherry, but it's not so overwhelming. It's just incredibly well balanced. It's got a little bit of pepper on the back end. I think if you add just a couple of drops of water to this, it might open that up a little bit. I haven't tried that yet, but I'm definitely going to do that. And I recommend that if you're not really used to more potent flavors of bourbon, add 1 ice cube or just a couple drops of water. It makes all the difference in the world. So let's look at this, y'all. This Booker's 30th anniversary, is it worth $200? For me, absolutely. I would pay that any day. I might even pay a little bit more. But that's the thing about bourbons and whiskeys, you never really know until you taste them. And that's what I'm here for. If there's a whiskey or a bourbon that you've been dying to try but you're a little, hesitant to, let me know what it is. Leave a comment, tell me the bourbon. I'll go out and find it and I'll taste it and I'll let you know what I think. Because I say this all the time, y'all, bourbon is fun, whiskey is fun. We're just here to taste and enjoy, y'all. So I hope you enjoyed this tasting of Booker's 30th anniversary. Cheers, y'all.